Jon Jones beat the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic, and the whole world in the buildup of this fight, and even before this fight was even announced. Fight fans have made no room for Jon Jones to breathe in because he doesn't want to fight the interim champion, Tom Aspinall. Whatever Jon Jones does, whether he's on Instagram or on YouTube, someone has to bring up Tom Aspinall in every single conversation possible. Fight Tom Aspinall or your legacy will be ruined. Stop ducking Tom Aspinall, you coward. Jon Jones has the most overrated resume in history. This Jon Jones hate is getting so bad to the point where even when Jon Jones gives his respect to a kid with cancer, people are automatically assuming that he's pretending to be a nice guy. Well, here we go again, Jon Jones pretending to be a nice guy. Pathetic. What's even more shocking is the fact that people aren't even understanding why Jon Jones doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, and I'll explain why. But even when I do explain to you guys why, you guys will still think that Jon Jones is a duck at the end of the day because that's how brainwashed you guys are. So let me break it down like this. Imagine being Jon Jones, having the most decorated resume in combat sports history, being in the UFC fighting different generations of fighters, to the Pride Legends, to the newer no-name generation of fighters. Imagine doing all this hard work just to realize years later that there's other fighters out there who are doing way less work than you and are getting paid way more than you have ever seen in your career. Why do you think Jon Jones gives so much respect and credit towards Jake Paul, Conor McGregor, and even the heavyweights in boxing? It's because of the money that they have earned throughout their career. Jon Jones has come to the realization that he's being severely underpaid for all the blood, sweat, and tears and hard work that he's done for his sport. He wants to be the one next in line to make big, entertaining fights, all while making an 8-figure paycheck. Jon Jones has noticed the formula after all these years. He had it all wrong. In order for Jon Jones to reach the next level financially, he needed to move up a weight class, the most explosive, most exciting weight class, the heavyweight division. Jon Jones always had this idea in mind, which was to fight Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, and now more recently, Alex Pereira. But why these guys specifically? And I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, they can't wrestle. He's just going to wrestle them and it's going to be an easy night. But you're wrong. The key factor here is the amazing resumes that these fighters have. Alex Pereira having a fast, record-breaking career. Francis Ngannou fighting top contenders, moving to the boxing scene, making history, and finally moving into the PFL and also making history there. Stipe Miocic, to put it simply, the greatest heavyweight of all time. Jon Jones wants to fight people who will give them a huge reward. And unfortunately for Tom Aspinall, he won't be able to do that unless negotiations play a huge part. And that's not Tom's fault or Jon's fault. Think about it, if Tom Aspinall were to have fought someone like Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, Cain Velasquez, and Brock Lesnar, I could almost guarantee you that Jon Jones would have fought Tom Aspinall if, hypothetically speaking, Tom Aspinall had those names in his resume. Because that's what Jon Jones is looking for, fighters who have made a mark in the sport. I don't get the hate because Jon Jones could finally have the ability to make big bucks and fight scary dudes all while we're entertained. And here's the interesting part. Jon Jones is willing to drop the heavyweight belt, but even if he does do that, he's in such a bad position to the point where fans will be even more outraged if he does this. And this whole ducking situation doesn't even make sense because like Jon Jones said before, how can he be ducking someone when Tom Aspinall was never in his radar, he was never in his game plan in the first place?
I feel like narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit on. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall. He's never been on my radar. Never.
Jon Jones' main goal all along was to fight the best of the best financially, and I don't know why fight fans haven't noticed that yet. People are acting like Jon Jones changed his mindset ever since Tom Aspinall became the interim champion. And I feel like Tom Aspinall turning into the interim champion definitely started this whole Jon Jones slander. Because we have to remember, after Jon Jones beat Ciryl Gane, he was training to fight Stipe Miocic, but unfortunately he got injured and the fight was pushed back and an interim heavyweight belt title was on the line. And that's where a problem occurred, because fight fans have this idea that if there's a champion and an interim champion at the same time, the champion has to fight the interim champion no matter what. And so when Jon Jones came back from his injury, fight fans thought that since there's a new interim champion, Jon Jones, the champion, was going to fight Tom Aspinall. But Jon Jones was like, I'm going to finish what I started, which was to go back to the gym and train for Stipe Miocic, his original opponent. And that really started a war in the fighting community. And since then, I feel like a lot of the hate that Jon Jones is getting is super unnecessary. For example, people are starting to say that Jon Jones' career is overrated for his quote-unquote close fights against Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes, and Alexander Gustafsson. And like I mentioned before, whenever Jon Jones gave a shout out to that one kid who had cancer, a lot of people were saying that he's trying to distract us from his dark past. People are literally judging Jon Jones' every single move for what? Because he's not fighting the interim champion? Freak you! And I do want to mention the Dana White meme of him saying that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time.
You throw two guys in a room and who comes out?
Yeah.
Okay? That's the baddest man on the planet. And it is hard to not say that Jon Jones is that guy right now.
Which he's not wrong, by the way, but this meme has really rubbed me the wrong way considering the timeline. Because as soon as Tom Aspinall became the interim champion, this meme of Dana White saying that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time really feels backhanded. Like, when did saying that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time now considered a meme? We have reached a point where if you were to say that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time in a room filled with fight fans, people will just stare at you and laugh, thinking you're crazy or stupid. Not too long ago, if you were to say that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, you were stating the obvious. Like, of course Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, but now we have reached a Great Depression. Jon Jones is in a very, 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 very bad position right now. But I could say with confidence that this Jon Jones hate and slander will die out eventually. Some way, somehow, people forgot about Mike Tyson's past. But let me correct myself here and say that people didn't forget about Mike Tyson's past. We all realized as a community that Mike Tyson was in a very bad spot mentally, but he changed for the better. And I feel like that sort of effect is gonna happen to Jon Jones. Right now, people are shaming Jon Jones for his past and his fighting career. But we will eventually reach a point and realize that, wow, Jon Jones wasn't pretending to be nice, but he was actually changing for the better right in front of our eyes, but we didn't notice it because we were too brainwashed to realize it. My name's Yahim Zamali, and I'm out. Peace.